Hello, everybody. 2020 is almost over. A very unforgettable year for everybody. I can guess for you too. And at the end, we wanted to see what can we learn from this very atypical year. So Forbes published this really interesting article about the top 50 most influential CMOs in the world. They published this around October. And we thought it is really interesting to learn from the best. So we made it our goal to understand the conversation of this top 50 CMOs and see what they were posting on LinkedIn and other social media. And what was really interesting about that is to understand the conversation in general with these many thought leaders in such a different year like 2020. So what did we found? So this is the article, and what we did is a couple of things. So first we did topic modeling to understand what were the territories that were discussed the most and that generated the highest engagement with their audiences, which I think is also really interesting. So what do we find here? The most important or most engaging territories were number one, leading together, and I want to do the focus on together, which is really interesting. Number two, creative transformation. Three, inclusion and diversity. Four, marketing, as you would expect from a CMO. And fifth, COVID, which you would expect in a year like this. What makes me really happy is to see things like creative transformation, and we named it like that because it included a lot of digital transformation and everything that the companies were facing and are still facing with this new challenge and how they're transforming using technologies to do things in a better, more efficient way. But also, I love to see inclusion and diversity. We've had a lot of conversation around that. We need to have more conversation around that, but it's important that we start seeing it here. So the most engaging territory was leading together. Of course, the togetherness and helping each other, collaboration was very, very present in the conversations. And the least engaging was inclusion. So I've heard some people that were disappointed because of that. I still think I like to see the glass half full. So I'm still happy that we have it here in the top 5, and it is a territory that it is being discussed at the highest level. Another interesting thing is we sorted the CMOs, but by how engaging they are being with their audiences. And to do that, we look at the average engagement per post that they are generating. This is a metric that is calculated using likes and comments, and we put that together. So in the top 3, Fernando Machado, number 1 from Burger King, number 2, Heidi Browning-Persson from NHL, and number 3, Dara Treseder from Peloton. So 2 ladies, 2 women leading in this CMO world. So I'm really happy to see that we're moving in the right direction, right? Having more inclusion, having more different thoughts and very interesting people here. What else can we see here? What are the best posts that generated the highest engagement, and how did that change over the year, so in each month? As we can see here, April, COVID really, really strong, and then leadership going back and taking over, and in the last quarter of the year, we see a lot of creative transformation being discussed at the highest level. This changes, of course, by CMO, and this changes dramatically, of course, depending on the industry. But the intention of this video is another one. So what we want to do is we want to look at the top 11 posts by engagement. And to do that, we will pick up the best post by month, but not sort them by month, but sort them by the engagement that they achieved. All right, so let me show you what we got here. The top 11, so the one with the least engagement from the best 11 was in January by Chris Capicella. So he's the CMO at Microsoft, And what he was discussing in January was the launch of Teams, right? Very interesting. This is before the lockdowns, but Teams was being released. So it was a good moment to release Team and enable work from home environments. Position number 10 is by Mo Kadibe, and this was a post from July. Here he's saying he's gonna leave AT&T, the role as CMO that he had, and he's gonna face new challenges. So it is interesting that he gets, of course, a lot of engagement, not only from his team, but from his colleagues, being happy for his achievements and for what's coming next. Position number 9 by Meyer Gupta, and I think this is really interesting because Meyer is a very interesting CMO. He was at Freshly in this post in October. He is leaving Freshly to join Gannett, and he's again talking about his journey and what he has done, and again generating a lot of engagement through this change. The next post, number 8, is by Dara Tresidder, and again another farewell. She is leaving Carbon and joining Peloton, and this happened in August. So again, she is celebrating a new challenge, and people are happy for this coming up. And the last of these type of posts is by Antonio Lucio in September. He was leaving Facebook, and he did something nice. He did a reel with photos from his team, having spent a time in Facebook and with all these wonderful people. So Facebook was had a difficult year, a lot of conversations around what they're doing, but this has nothing to do with this. This is just Antonio leaving Facebook for a new challenge. Now let's move over to position number 6. And in position number 6, we have Fernando Machado. And this is an interesting post because he's saying he didn't really like L'Oreal campaigns, but this specific campaign he thought was really excellent. And in this one, we see Eva Longoria using a hair product at her home and doing an Instagram live, how she's applying it by herself and having an excellent result. So interesting advertising during the pandemic with people staying at home. And this was fresh because this was in May. And this is the 6th best post of the year. Now let's move over to post number 5. Also by Fernando Machado, and also related to advertising, related to COVID, which was, of course, an ongoing theme through the year. This one is from Burger King, Italy, and it is basically promoting the social distancing Whopper, which is a delicious Whopper with a lot of onion. So probably good for social distancing, a little humor in this difficult times where people are struggling. So that's good. Let's look at our post number 4, and this one is from March. This is Ravi Santhanaman, and he is celebrating that he won the CMO Leadership Award in Mumbai. So we see a photo of him receiving the award and people celebrating and feeling happy for him and proud for the work that he has done. Let's go to the top 3. So this is the 3rd most engaging post done by the 50 most influential CMOs of the world. And this is by Nick Ragone. This post is from April. So if you can remember April, we were starting the pandemic. Caregivers were under immense stress. They still are. But that was the moment where we all understood the dimension of the crisis. And Nick was doing a post talking about how proud he was for the extraordinary work that the caregivers are doing. So this is the top 3 posts of the year. Let's go to our position number 2. And here we have Fernando Machado again. In this case, he is presenting the advertising campaign for the Moldy Whopper. I don't know if you guys remember this, but for me, This is one of the best creative campaigns of the year. This post is from February, so previous to the pandemic. It wasn't really related yet, but it's still very powerful because it was an image of a moldy Whopper celebrating the beauty of natural ingredients and not having to add artificial preservatives. So the moldy Whopper, very interesting campaign, and also the top 2 most engaging posts of the year. And now the last one, let's look at the post that generated the highest engagement. And it is really a lot of engagement. Let me tell you, this number 2 generated an engagement score of 28,400, and the top 1 generated 98,000. So it's a lot more. It's like 4 times more. So let's look at that. And it is also a post by Fernando Machado. This one is from November, so it's pretty recent. What is interesting here is we're still in Burger King, we're still talking about food and advertising, but this has a different component because we all know how difficult the pandemic has been for all of us, for the world, and how much unemployment it has generated. So in this campaign from France, Burger King is actually inviting people to order from McDonald's, KFC, and other fast food restaurants just in order to keep the economy going and keep their employees working. So a very nice way of looking at this, not being selfish, but celebrating the category and trying to bring the category to survive through one of the hardest years that we have witnessed. So this is the most engaging post. Now, I want to ask you if you have any more doubts, commentaries, ideas that we could do with this data. Please let me know in the comments. I will be reading them. I will be responding as much as I can, but really interesting. And for us, the idea of this is how can we learn from the best? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a safe December and happy holidays to everybody.